Hello and welcome to another episode of Myths of Ace. This is a series where I find some misconceptions about asexuality and try to break them down and destroy them. Basically. So the headliner for today, which is probably in the title for this video, is that asexuals can't get turned on. When people first hear about asexuality, if they're not familiar with it, they might equate sexual attraction to other sexual functions that the human body has, let's say. But at the end of the day, sexual orientation has nothing to do about the normal sexual functioning of a human body. I'm not explaining this very well. Basically, asexuals are biologically like anyone else. The same way that a gay person isn't any different physically to a straight person. It is a question of the physical versus the mental. And sexual attraction is generally defined as a feeling which causes someone to desire to have sex with someone else. So, I don't know exactly how this works because I haven't felt it myself, but you might look at someone and think, I would like to have sex with you. Probably wouldn't happen that suddenly. Note in that description it doesn't say anything about sexual arousal, or libido, or any other biological functions. This also goes along with the misconception for everyone that arousal equals sexual attraction, which is not the case. I'm going to leave a link in the description for a video about how arousal doesn't equal sexual interest or attraction, because that's something that's really unhealthy and can kind of lead to rape. Sexual attraction is generally defined as a feeling which makes someone desire to have sex with someone else. Asexuals don't have this feeling, but it doesn't mean that they don't have other sexual aspects to them. For example, asexual men still get erections. That doesn't mean that they want sex with people. It's just something that the body does. Assuming someone's intent based on what their body naturally does as opposed to what they are saying is incorrect. And it is unfair, and it's not right. It's just not right. So I think the real issue with this misconception is that people aren't distinguishing between sexual attraction and libido and arousal. They're all different things and they need to be treated as such. Being asexual doesn't make you any less capable of having sex. It just means you don't inherently want it. Hopefully that made a smidgen of sense. I did ramble a bit, but normally you can find sense in my words where I can't, so there you go. Next on the list we have asexuals don't exist. Well, let me tell you that what the hell is happening? God, no! Okay, so that happened. In all seriousness, the Asexuality Visibility and Education Network, also known as AVEN, has over 100,000 members on it. Assuming the vast majority of those are asexual, there's a good proportion of people who exist. If you doubted it, I'm pretty sure everyone watching this, or most people watching this, also exist. Also, a very prominent figure that's quoted a lot in the ace community is a UK census which happened some time ago. I can't remember exactly how many years. That quoted that in the census 1% of people identified as asexual, which is not an insignificant amount. So, in conclusion, I exist, you all exist, everyone in the ace community exists. Glad we cleared that one up. Now, this is probably quite damaging to a lot of people, because they're having their feelings invalidated by people who don't understand how they feel. I imagine that a lot of people being confronted with this misconception would be younger. I think it is quite common for LGBT plus youth, when they find out their orientation, to be met with doubt when they come out. But at the end of the day, the only person who knows how you feel is you. No one can tell you that you don't feel the way you do. They don't know because they don't live as you. They don't feel the things that you do. So, however strange or however alien it may seem to them, if it's your normal, then that's fine. And no one can deny that. The problem with this one is that everyone is essentially asexual before puberty. Sexual attraction doesn't come into play until later in life. So someone could identify as asexual and then later decide that they are not. But that does not mean that as a phase. If you find comfort in a label at that specific moment in time, then by all means use that label. It is for you and you only. If you want to switch 6, 7 times before settling on something that you feel comfortable with, then that's completely fine. It doesn't mean that you are just going through a phase. It just means that sexuality is confusing, and putting it into words and understanding what you feel is incredibly difficult. Yes, of course, sexuality can be fluid. Someone may have a phase of being one orientation and then switch to another, but it doesn't make their first orientation at that moment less valid. It just means their orientation has changed. For me personally, my sexuality and my romantic orientation have been constant throughout my life. I haven't always understood them, but what I felt hasn't changed. So, I think that covers it for today. If you think that I haven't covered any of these in enough detail, then feel free to comment down below. Also, if you have any ideas or suggestions or things you want me to talk about, either in general or for Mr. Face, then comment them down below too. Comment everything down below. If you enjoyed this video, then please leave a like. I post videos every Saturday, so if you want to see more, then feel free to subscribe. That is all I had to say today. Have a wonderful day, and I shall see you next time. They don't know. They don't live in your shoes or your body. Or your shoes and your body. Your body and your shoes. Nothing exists! Nothing is real!